symmetry.
Fox News.
And now we're just
oversight here as to how this all played out. Now we worry about protecting the homeland. General, to go back to this story in the Wall Street Journal, again, this is just coming out exclusively. This Muhammad he was 36 years old as an interpreter for the U.S. Army back in 2008 when he went in and helped. It was Joe Biden at the time. It was John Kerry and Chuck Hagel. Apparently, the reason why Muhammad could not get his family and his 4 children off the ground there, to your point, General, there are so many stories like this. He says his visa application be stuck after the defense contractor he worked for lost the records he needed for his application. Then the Taliban seized Kabul August 15th, he said, and like thousands of others, he tried his luck, tried to get to the Kabul airport gates, where he was rebuffed by U.S. forces. He says he could get in, they told him, but not his wife and children. General Keane, if I could finish off with one question to you, as we are about to hear from the president, Jen Psaki, sort of giving us some guidelines.
The president, come on, guys. And I usually don't do this, but this is kind of a more of an extreme thing, so I'm breaking the rules for today.
Who so many of them, they've made such great progress for so many years, for 2 decades. They tried to build a better life for themselves. I'm just curious how he addresses them, if he addresses them and those left behind. Final thought.
Well, I don't know if he's going to address that at all. I mean, I think there has been a certain amount of callous indifference to the suffering that's taking place in Afghanistan as a result of our decisions to pull out, and how we pulled out has certainly exacerbated all of that. I think the speech is likely a justification of his original decision to get out, and he'll may present another false choice, bringing back thousands of U.S. soldiers to be engaged in a much larger war than what we were involved in with just 2,500 people, and having a stalemate in Afghanistan, so a safe haven is not formed. I think he will distort that as he's done in the past. Certainly, he is going to applaud the commendable effort of getting 126,000 people out, and he's going to rationalize that we're still committed to getting our American citizens out and the Afghan partners, but we're resourcing that and to the Taliban to make that happen. And we can't execute that mission unless we got Taliban compliance, and also the fact that ISIS stays out of the way of all of that. I think that's largely what this is about. He's trying to wrap this up, put a bow on it, but this is not going to go away. You've seen the surveys. I've never seen surveys like this since 9/11, where the American people, 86, 87, 88%, depending on their party affiliation, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, fundamentally disagree with the Biden administration leaving American citizens and Afghan partners behind. That is staggering rejection of the president's decision. And the American people know that if we stayed longer, our troops would be at risk. But they also recognize, well, we don't leave Americans behind. We don't do that. And yes, there's going to be a rationalization of that.
Yeah.
And others, and lose, if you will, even a tendril of links with the Taliban in the counter-terror challenge, and so they've got a lot of issues to balance, including extremism in their ranks and a host of other countries.
I'm much in bed. It's early when I do.
Almost in a new age great game are kind of measuring the situation. Bottom line, though, they all can't stand radical Sunni Islam of the ISIS Khorasan type, and perhaps that is what all temporarily pulls us together.
Kim, you mentioned that there were Taliban fighters boarding buses that were headed toward land borders to tell them to turn around to go back to Kabul. But even if they were to get to those borders, the neighboring countries are saying you can't come here. I mean, Pakistan has already accepted 1.1 million refugees over the last several years. They're saying that they've hit their limit. The president has thanked countries for taking in these refugees. Where will they go, though?
Yeah, the couple of buses that I was referring to had actually gotten to the Tajikistan border, and it was Taliban checkpoints there after these buses were turned back that said you shouldn't have tried to leave anyway, and put armed guards on them to force them to make sure they go all the way back to Kabul. So that is the big crisis that's looming in terms of either you're going to have groups of people gathering, like you have hundreds of people now waiting at one of
Fox
the main
News.
crossing points into Pakistan.
And the man in that photo, Mohammed, came to your rescue, and now he is stranded in Afghanistan and begging for the president to help him get out. He helped the president when the president was stranded. Now he's asking for reciprocation.
He says to the president, "Save me and my family. Do not forget me here." That is remarkable, John. That he is one of many left behind.
Maybe we'll hear about him this afternoon.
Maybe.
I don't think so. Fox News alert from what's left of Ida now soaking parts of the south and heading for the
Ida.
Atlantic. It's a devastating 1-2 punch for central Tennessee, which was still
Place.
cleaning up from last week's deadly flooding. Charles Watson, live in Waverly, Tennessee, with the latest. You know, Charles, they had
CNN.
it a week ago, and now they're getting it again.
No clean drinking water, little to no gas, and add to that, no air conditioning in the middle of summer. Why it could be weeks before life
Fox
returns
News.
to normal for Louisiana residents.
Don't live in a damn swamp. That's your problem.
Today, wondering what this storm system will bring after that catastrophic flooding they went through last week. And when you look around this place, you really understand why there is that level of concern. I mean, these guys still have these 7-foot high piles of debris with people's personal belongings in them. You've got bicycles, clothing, stoves, bathtubs, you name it over here. There are homes like this which have been completely gutted by the flooding. You see the window out, and then there are large products like this boat back here, and this home which was lifted off of its foundation, swept away, and still sits where it landed more than a week after that flooding. All of this is what's left over and what folks have to clean up after a storm system dropped up to 17 inches of rain on some areas in central Tennessee. That record rainfall causing a tidal wave of water to rush through this area that
Don't
killed
live
more
there.
than a dozen people a little more than a week ago. Now, officials here are not expecting that record rainfall today, but they are taking some precautionary measures to make sure everyone is safe. For one, they are giving out free tarping to folks. They want folks to cover up any open structures
I told you
to
it's
make
big.
sure that the rain that's coming down doesn't cause any more of that extensive damage that we've been seeing out here. That tarping will also act as a defense in case any gusty winds blow through here, so there's no debris flying around and hurting anyone. We've also seen the National Guard on the ground. We had a truck drive past us a few moments ago. They've been checking the Trace Creek right here behind us, making sure that the water is not rushing up quickly and so it's not spilling over. They've also been making sure that the waterways have been cleared so they don't see the flooding out here, John.
Boy, I can't imagine having gone through what they went through in the past couple of weeks, then looking at all this again. Charles Watson for us, where was Charles? Thank you. Sandra?
Much more ahead, John, as we await the president, his first remarks since the final U.S. troops took off from Kabul.
Live at Ocala next on what Americans want to hear from their president.
CNN. The president's an asshole.
When your car needs repair, you take it to your favorite mechanic or even your dealer, and CarShield gets them paid directly. That's why CarShield is America's #1 auto protection provider.
CarShield is just the best thing to take away the fear that when something is going to go wrong with your car, because it will, and CarShield is going to be there to back you up.
My experience with CarShield is that they absolutely come through every time I need them.
If my car breaks down, I can count on CarShield to cover it for me. CarShield definitely has my back.
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed, and once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 1-800-995-3411 or go to carshield.com. Get covered today.
Is that really a it is?
Two straws, one shotgun, I got you. Put it like Natty in the styrofoam. Sweet squeaking in the chocolate.
You do what I do. How you can do what I do.
That's how we do. Fancy like
Priceline works with top hotels to save you up to 60%.
These are all great.
And when you get a big deal, you feel the big deal. Priceline. Every trip is a big deal.
The personal loan from SoFi helped me consolidate my credit card debt into one simple monthly payment.
Debt free. Thanks to SoFi.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
I don't know who I
Proudly
am.
help veterans with mesothelioma.
I don't know.
Call for a free book.
Fox News.
1-800-822.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Water tastes like, well, water. So we fixed it. Leo.
When America's service members move forward, they're unstoppable. Unstoppable in their mission. Since 2003, Wounded Warrior Project has advocated. Our mission is helping injured veterans achieve their highest ambition with free services in mental health, career counseling, and long-term rehabilitative care. And warriors never pay a penny for our programs. They're unstoppable heroes. Support warriors today at woundedwarriorproject.org.
At Lovesac, we design furniture for life, real life, messy life, a life where styles evolve, and it's fun to try something new. Washable, changeable, and guaranteed for life. Experience Sactionals at a Lovesac showroom near you.
Dish makes TV easy. Prime Video? It's easy.
Then click Prime Video.
The app is now right there with all your live TV.
We got this.
We got this. They got this. Dish, streaming and live TV all in one place.
With the timeless protection of ADT, it's safe to say, hey Google, unlock the front door. When you've helped save more lives than any other home security brand, it's safe to say there's a reason millions of people trust ADT to help protect what matters most.
Introducing the all-new Nutrisystem. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months, guaranteed. You'll see results in your first week.
Plan your Nutrisystem plan right now. You'll get a month of breakfast,
Okay, I'm
lunches, dinners,
changing
and
this.
snacks delivered to your door. Act now and will include shipping absolutely free.
Your first 18 pounds, gone.
Call or go online right now and start losing weight today. Plus, get shipping free.
Americans abandoned behind enemy terrorist lines. Senator Lindsey Graham, he joins us. Are there any options on the table? We'll ask that question tonight on Hannity.
Every day in business brings something
CNN.
new. So get the flexibility of the new mobile service.
People are right now, as we try to make our way down to show you the line. This line snakes it down here, down this street, around the other corner down there. Again, people here desperate for just the basics. A short time ago, I spoke to Yolanda Teague. She's a resident of this neighborhood. She's got at least 12 people living in her house, including a 10-year-old who has a heart condition. Take a listen to what her situation is.
My living room is caved in right now, so when it rains right now, we get water inside the house. So we had to move all my living room furniture out the living room, and we like migrating. It's a 4-bedroom house, so right now we're living in like 2 bedrooms.
What's your biggest worry right now?
Really running out of food and beverages, and I have a son with a heart condition, so that's my biggest concern is him.
Now, Yolanda says her son has the medications that he needs right now, and that she was worried, though, when that medication ran out, where she was going to get it. She was just assured by a local hospital that they've got an ambulance service that can come and attend to him and possibly give him some medication. But again, people are having to fend for themselves now, guys, and try to find out this information on their own, find out about these distribution centers, and it's kind of it's a desperate time here in New Orleans.
Oh, for sure. And Brian, I mean, we hear that, they might be for weeks without power. And if the temperatures really are going up to 100, what's the plan?
That's a very good question, Allison. I don't know what the plan is. I'm not sure that the energy company knows what the plan is. They're not giving a timetable for when the power might return to some of these parishes because they probably figure that they can't box themselves in there. You just hope that the city has a plan for keeping order and just keeping these people at least informed as to where
Fox
they can go
News.
to get food and water and setting up these stations.
A better way than it began, or in a better way that we saw play
CNN.
out over the last 10 days. There's a lot.
Of these stations, I don't know if they've done that yet.
I mean, the good thing is that these people have made it through the storm with their lives. That's the first thing, because some people we know have not. But understandably, it is miserable without the air conditioning and, of course, food and water. Brian Todd for us there in the Algiers neighborhood there in New Orleans. Thank you so much. Listen, this storm is still dangerous. It's headed north now. We've got some video here from Highway 26. Pictures, actually. This is in George County, Mississippi. At least 2 people were killed, 10 others injured when 7 cars tumbled into a crater last night. The troopers say Ida's rains likely washed out the road. Look at this. It formed a massive hole 20 feet deep, 50 feet long.
Tom Sater is at the CNN Weather Center tracking Ida for us. So what now, Tom?
Well, we could see some states that
Fox
actually pick
News.
up a month's worth of rainfall.
Because we as a country stand for something. We don't leave Americans
CNN.
behind. We don't leave.
City. We still have colors of red on our infrared imagery. That means the system is still trying to release all of its energy. And you can see the heavy rainfall still down to the south with a chance of tornadoes. And again, a lot of lightning. The center is actually about 70 miles to the southwest of Nashville. Big concerns, high anxiety, and of course Waverly and areas of Centerville where they had horrific flooding, about 1 to 2 inches. So good news there. But it is quite heavy in the panhandle of Florida, up into areas of Georgia. Again, the tornado threat and flash flooding. But when you look at the states, we've got 20 states with flash flood warnings. And it looks like when it gets in toward the Smokies, areas of the Blue Ridge and Appalachians, this could really stretch a lot of rainfall, or wring out a lot of rainfall for several states, including parts of Pennsylvania, and also the corridor of I-95 between Philadelphia and New York. We could see a good 4 or 5 inches of rain. But when it comes to the heat, the National Weather Service in New Orleans had to leave. Obviously, they're without power. So the National Weather Service took over in Jacksonville, and they have issued this heat advisory. They actually had to lower the threshold. Typically, sure, it's hot and humid. You have heat index values upper 90s near 100. But when millions are without power, this is going to cause big concerns: heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Heat stroke is actually the leading killer, weather-related killer across the world. So the last thing we need, besides those that are injured with search and rescue efforts, is to have more patients in the hospitals. But you can even see Lafayette 100, Baton Rouge 98, 95 in Homa. This is just for today, and again, a 3-day forecast will show many of them in triple digits. We could see heat index values of 105. But it's not just that. It's the explosive growth and spread of mold. Even homes that were not flooded, Allison and Victor, we're going to see mold in that as well. And if this power outage continues past 3 weeks or 4 weeks, it won't just be the homes that have been flooded that have damage. It's going to be many more. This is going to be a multi-billion-dollar disaster. It's extremely sad.
Oh my gosh, Tom, thank you for laying out all the repercussions for us. I mean, it's like what you were saying. Their lives were spared in the storm, but then with heat stroke, I mean, you know, the officials there have warned us that the death toll could still climb today, even if you survive the storm.
Yeah, considerably. And when you think about the people waiting for food and water, those are the ones who can get to it, right? So we've got to, of course, stay with our reporters who are trying to find out what's going on in these communities where they've not gotten these comms yet.
Our meanwhile, we're waiting for a major address from President Biden, his message to the nation after the end of the 20-year war in Afghanistan. Of course, we'll bring that to you live.
Right about now, we could all use a pancake, or a burger, or a burrito, or an omelet. Hello. Whoa, wait, go back. Let's talk about these pancakes. Okay, now I'm hungry. IHOP, we could all use a pancake.
Why do we sign every Stearns & Foster? Because each one is so artfully constructed with quality craftsmanship and luxurious materials for stunning design and indulgent comfort. Stearns & Foster, a mattress that looks as good as it feels.
Introducing the Grubhub Guarantee. Our promise to deliver your order on time within the delivery window and for the lowest price compared to other apps. Or you'll get back at least $5 of perks. Now there's a new way Experian Boost can raise your credit scores.
I boosted my FICO score 35 points.
I used the Experian app and my Netflix account to boost my credit by 21 points.
Now pay for Netflix, Hulu, and more, and boost your credit scores. Download the Experian app now.
Our produce standards are more than a label. It's a promise that every fruit on your table was chosen by someone who thinks farm labor and supported organic before it was cool. There's mighty high standards in that sour bowl because that's what makes us whole.
We've been around long enough to know great value when we see it. We get all the talk, all the text, all the data that we could possibly want. And we're saving so much money.
For those of us who weren't born yesterday, there's Consumer Cellular, where you can get talk, text, and data for only $20 a month with no contract.
You pay for exactly what you need,
And you get great customer service too.
and it's the best value I know.
Discover premium wireless for less. Switch to Consumer Cellular today. It's easy. Call, go online, or find us at Target.
At Southern New Hampshire University, we're committed to making college more affordable. That's why we're keeping our tuition the same through the year 2022.
And USNHU was the place for me when I saw how affordable it was.
Find your degree at snhu.edu.
No married the inside work with the outside work. It's not about losing the weight, it's about losing the weight. And when you begin to work on that weight, the physical stuff falls off.
Sign up for Noom and lose the weight for good.
With the timeless protection of ADT, it's safe to say, hey Google, unlock the front door. When you've helped save more lives than any other home security brand, it's safe to say there's a reason millions of people trust ADT to help protect what matters most.
As someone who resembles someone else, I appreciate that Liberty Mutual knows everyone's unique. That's why they customize your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Oh yeah, that's just fine. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. We do it every night.
Do it. Run your dishwasher with Cascade Platinum to save water and energy. Certified dishwashers use less than 4 gallons of water per cycle. And you can also save up to $130 per year on your energy bill. Cascade Platinum. Life after the pandemic. How will we work, learn, and live? Join Fareed for a glimpse of the future. The post-COVID-19 world. A Fareed Zakaria GPS special. Sunday morning at 10.
Every day in business brings something new. So get the flexibility of the new mobile service designed for your small business. Introducing Comcast Business Mobile. You get the most reliable network with nationwide 5G included. And you get unlimited data for just $30 per line per month when you get 4 lines. Or mix and match data options. Available now for Comcast Business Internet customers with no line activation fees or term contract required. See if you can save by switching today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Go beyond basic brushing and flossing. Discover Dentec's unparalleled array of oral care solutions for advanced care, sensitive gums, and plaque control. Dentec's the answer. Go beyond brushing with Dentec.
Kate didn't talk to a mattress firm sleep expert. Now she's sleep happy and just hit reply all.
I did? Oh.
Go to mattress firm on Jump Your Sleep.
We're expecting to hear from President Biden any minute now after America's full withdrawal from Afghanistan. And although all U.S. forces are out, there are still between 100 to 200 Americans who are still in the country who want to leave.
We've gotten many out, but many are still there. We will keep working to help them. Our commitment to them has no deadline.
Joining me now is Connor Powell. He lived and worked in Kabul as a journalist at the height of the war. I want to get into those who are still in Afghanistan. Thank you for being with us, by the way. But first, let me start with a broad perspective here. For the first time in close to 20 years, there is not a single American service person there in Afghanistan. From your perspective, having covered the height of the war, what does that mean?
It's a huge transformation, not only for the United States, but also for the Afghan people, but also for the international community. I mean, one of the things that always is important to keep in mind is what a global effort this was. This wasn't just the U.S. and NATO. There were countries from the Middle East, Qatar, Turkey, that were all part of this effort to rebuild this country. And for literally 20 years, there were promises made day in and day out from every official who ever visited that country saying, we're not going to abandon the Afghan people. We're here for however long it takes. So I think for me, having been there, having covered this story, that's still the amazing thing is that I had heard so many U.S. officials, politicians, diplomats, military officers make this promise. And to see no U.S. soldiers, to see no embassy staff, to see no international presence there anymore is really just a stunning turn of events.
On promises, the president, in a statement released before we hear from him in a few minutes, he reasserted the promise to those Afghan civilians who helped the U.S. over the last 20 years that the State Department will continue to work to get them out. I understand you've been in contact with some Afghans who have not been able to get out. What's their status? What's the next step?
Yeah, there's really sort of two different types of Afghans that we've been communicating with. There are Afghans who lived in the U.S. and the West in the 80s and 90s, and then after the fall of the Taliban, they went back to help rebuild their country. A lot of them might have had children in the U.S., but they never got their U.S. citizenship. But they were part of like the UN or working for ISAF and NATO or different embassies. And they're stuck in Kabul largely because they own houses. Their money is in the banks there, which have been all frozen. And, you know, they're scared to be there, but they don't really have a place to go next. And obviously there are Americans who want to leave, a lot of Afghan Americans who do want to leave, a couple hundred. But there's a lot of these Afghans who have connections to the West from children, from having lived in the West, but they aren't sort of able to go. And they're confused, they're scared. There's also a lot of Afghans that I've spoken to who grew up in Afghanistan the last 20 years, who went to school there, they became lawyers, they became activists, they owned small businesses. And they were the ones who bought into these promises of, international help for generations. And they don't have any way of getting to the U.S., but they're scared to death of being in this new Afghanistan. That we've spoken to some Afghan female lawyers who have, they've been promoted by the international community as sort of that next generation. They've been put on social media feeds by embassies, by the UN. Their pictures are up there with Western officials, but they're now stuck in Kabul with really nowhere to go, and they're terrified.
So let me ask you this. I want your reaction then to the breaking news. I mean, you were critical of the decision to the potential that lists were handed over to the Taliban to help facilitate getting through the checkpoints. What's your reaction to this reporting from Barbara Starr that there was a secret deal between the U.S. military and the Taliban in which they actually escorted groups of Americans to the gates at the airport? And does that give you any more confidence that the Taliban can be, I don't want to say trusted, relied upon to allow those Americans, those at-risk Afghans to get out?
Yeah, the optimist in me wants to believe that that is the sign of a more practical, as we've heard time and time again the last couple of days, Taliban. The realist in me says that Taliban have killed thousands of people, and they're a brutal group that have used violence against civilians, suicide bombings and things like that for 20 years now. So I don't know what to believe. I don't know if anyone does. I know for a fact that the Taliban worked and let some people get to the airport. I've talked to people who went through checkpoints and they were told they could go. Often the Afghans I spoke to, they said the hardest part of that process of getting out was the gate at the airport, getting past American soldiers and British soldiers and getting into the Hamid Karzai airport. So there is evidence that the Afghan worked with the international community. I hope that continues. I think a lot of people hope that continues. I also know that the Taliban are going door to door throughout Kabul and the country, taking people's valuables, taking their cars, and have a lot of people under guard at this point. So yeah, there's two sides to this Taliban, and history says it's a violent organization. I think that's the one that we should probably be focused on. And then where the U.S. can and where the international community can, we'll probably, work with them if they can. But let's not kid ourselves. This is a violent organization.
Yeah. And as you reminded us several times, the Taliban is not monolithic. There are factions and facets that are often conflicting. Connor Powell, always good to have your insight.
Thank you.
Okay, now to this story. Wildfires are raging across the West. Tens of thousands of people scrambling to escape. So we're live on the ground in Lake Tahoe. Next.
It's like the world just stopped.
Hi, so you're the scientist here. Does my Aveeno Daily Moisturizer really make my dry skin healthier in one day?
It's true, Jen. This prebiotic formula moisturizes to help prevent dry skin.
Impressive. Aveeno, healthy. It's our nature. Try the body wash too.
Introducing new hearty inspirations from Nutrisystem. Satisfying meals with double the protein. Drop those LBs like a bad habit. Just eat, and repeat.
With Nutrisystem, I lost 79 pounds and I feel fantastic.
Get Nutrisystem's biggest and best meals ever delivered to your door. Ready in minutes. Order Nutrisystem now with free shipping. Call or go online right now and get free shipping. Big portions for big time results.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to relieve occasional nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort. Try Nervive Nerve Relief.
From roof to foundation, the damage to your home can be devastating from clogged gutters, leaking roofs, rotting wood and fascia, and flooded basements. Protect your entire home with Leak Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system. Once our ladders go up, you can put yours down forever.
One of the things that I like the most is I don't have to get back on the ladder.
Leak Filter starts by cleaning, sealing, and realigning your gutters. We then install our stainless steel micro mesh screen over your existing gutters, which keeps out all leaves and organic debris.
Trying other products is what made us finally go to Leaf Filter.
And Leaf Filter's lifetime transferable warranty makes it an extraordinary value.
Leaf Filter's going to make my home more valuable, especially when I go to sell it.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
When America faces tough challenges, we find strength from within. This recovery is going to take energy, and we've got a choice on how we get it. Import energy from unstable regions or responsibly produce natural gas and oil right here in America. Depend on foreign governments or protect our energy security, keep American jobs, and maintain global competitiveness. The choice is clear. Solutions are made in America with America's natural gas and oil.
Hey, the chance to take someone else's power for yourself, you can't deny that would feel good.
Then trust me.
Junebug style.
This is when the fun starts.
If you have the best pizza in town and the worst wait times, you need to hire. Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Brushing only reaches 25% of your mouth. Listerine brings virtually 100%, helping to prevent gum disease and bad breath. Never settle for 25%. Always go for 100. Bring out the pole.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies, or call 1-800-481-1700. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
Closed captioning brought to you by Viviscal Hair Growth Supplement. Reclaim the hair that makes you fully you.
Millions of women have regrown their hair with Viviscal, proven effective in 10 clinical studies, and is 100% drug-free. Reclaim the hair that makes you fully you.
Extreme weather and wildfires plaguing the western U.S. The entire city of South Lake Tahoe in California is under a mandatory evacuation right now. You can see drivers stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic for hours as tens of thousands of people in El Dorado County scrambled to leave. In just the last 2 weeks, the fast-moving Caldor wildfire has scorched more than 191,000 acres, and it is currently only 16% contained.
CNN's Dan Simon is there in South Lake Tahoe. Dan, how much time have these people been given to get out? Bumper-to-bumper traffic seems like it's been a rush.
Well, they were told yesterday afternoon that they needed to evacuate, and to borrow an expression from another kind of natural disaster, right now it is really the calm before the storm. You can see just how empty it is, and this is a popular tourist destination, popular both in the summer and in the winter, and you have restaurants and hotels and stores and everything, of course, is just empty out. But take a look at what it looked like yesterday. You had this bumper to bumper traffic with tens of thousands of people fleeing the city, trying to get to safety, people going to nearby Rio or Carson City or some other communities. And we spoke to one resident as he was packing up his belongings and getting ready to hit the road. Take a look.
I try to stay calm, but like there's some panic now, of course, because the fire is threatening our community, which we never thought was gonna. We thought they were gonna get it under control, but Mother Nature suggests otherwise. And now we're looking at our whatever little precious belongings we have packed up, and we're relocating, and hopefully we have a home and a community to come back to.
Well, we are looking at a potential disaster if this fire actually makes its way to South Lake Tahoe. This would be a worst case scenario. This Caldor fire has been so stubborn and broke out 2 weeks ago, and fire crews just have not been able to get really a handle on it. Right now, it is only 16% contained, and of course, where it's coming from, not really contained at all. And this fire has really been pushed by the wind. And unfortunately, it's supposed to be very windy this evening. This area is under a red flag warning until Wednesday night. So right now, the race is really on for firefighters to do whatever they can to try to protect Lake Tahoe and the surrounding communities. But it's going to be quite a fight for the next 24, 48 hours.
Gosh, I mean, just looking at the landscape behind you, how little visibility there is, Dan, is incredible. Thank you very much.
The new sobering numbers tied to COVID and kids. There are more children in hospitals with COVID than ever before in the pandemic. Now, alongside that reality, people are fighting, sometimes literally, over masks.
But first, a look at what to watch later this afternoon.
Why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? Because a quality night's sleep is scientifically proven to help increase energy and improve recovery. And it keeps you at your best all day long. The new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed is temperature balancing. And it helps keep you asleep by sensing your movement and automatically adjusts to keep you both effortlessly comfortable. The Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed is on sale now during our biggest sale of the year.
Yeah, we fancy like Applebee's on a date night. Got that Bourbon Street steak with the Oreo shake and some whipped cream on the top too. 2 straws in the shack, girl, I got you. Bougie like me, styrofoam, too sweet.
Once you can have the perspective, you can more. Morgan Stanley, a global collection of thought leaders, offers investors a broader view. We see companies protecting the bottom line, but putting people first. To see a bright future, still hungry for ingenuity who's ready for the next challenge. Today we're translating decades of experience into strategies for the road ahead. We are Morgan Stanley.
It's an important time to save. With Priceline, you can get up to 60% off amazing hotels. And when you get a big deal, let's see what a big deal. Every trip is a big deal. Introducing
At USAA, we've been called to exclusive. We only serve ones honorably served. All ranks, all branches, and their families. Are we still exclusive? Absolutely. And that's exactly how you should
There's so much news. You don't even have time to take any more of this phone. Bet you don't treat Brady this way. Come on, man. You clearly haven't seen the other ad. It's the eFresh refresh or something.
Right now, it's an hour after President to be on TV. The show soon will say give it.
At University of Phoenix, you can try and take affordable tuition to mostly enroll to the daily graduate in the program. Learn more about our tuition guarantee at phoenix.edu.
You can now upgrade your windows and doors and save a lot of money during Renewal by Anderson's 31-day sale. Before August 31st, buy one window, add the door, or anything. Get your next one 40% off. And as the sales go on, save an extra $50 on every window and door. With 0 money down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 1 year. It's hard to get a good contractor to even call you back. We're the full-service replacement window division of Anderson. Know what we're doing to help you now, and we don't take care of everything for you. During our sale, buy one window, patio door, or entry door, and get your next one 40% off. Plus, save us extra $50 on every window and door, and pay nothing for a year. Don't miss Renewal by Anderson's 31-day sale. For an appointment during this tremendous sale, call before August 31st, 616-504-8811.
The new CNN original series Diana, coming in October on CNN.
Now to coronavirus. The standoff over COVID safety protocols in schools is escalating, and so is the number of children contracting COVID.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says the rate of kids testing positive in early August reached their highest level since last winter. CNN's Athena Jones has more.
Hospitals are saturated everywhere.
With new COVID-19 cases battering the country, particularly in the less vaccinated South, overwhelmed hospitals reaching a breaking point. Mississippi, the hardest hit state, has just 9 intensive care unit beds available. And in 5 southern states, less than 10% of ICU beds are free. Kentucky hospitals are seeing a record number of COVID patients and critical staffing shortages.
We're living in a reality that some COVID patients will also be treated in their cars unless there's a room for them inside the ER or in the hospital.
COVID cases in Louisiana have begun to decline. The ICUs are still almost 90% full. COVID patients occupy more than half of those beds.
And hopefully we're in the downswing of this surge, but that downswing is still seeing record highs in the hospitals today. 170 patients admitted with COVID-19 in our hospital, 40 on the ventilator.
New COVID cases nationwide now average more than 160,000 a day. And more than 100,000 people are hospitalized, nearly all of them unvaccinated, say health officials. It's a message that may finally be reaching more people. On the actual research polls show just 1 in 5 people say they are not likely to get the vaccine, down from 34% in March. Experts say vaccination is key to prevent the spread of new variants. But the CDC says less than half of children ages 12 to 15 have gotten at least 1 dose. Even as COVID cases in kids skyrocket, more than 200,000 testing positive last week, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, up 5-fold from a month ago.
It's actually the trend that's frightening when you look at the direction things are going. The number of pediatric cases are increasing, and they are going to keep increasing.
All this raising the stakes in the debate over masking in schools. The U.S. Department of Education now investigating whether policies banning mask mandates in 5 states discriminate against students with disabilities. Meanwhile, Florida officials following through on the governor's promise to withhold the salaries of school board officials involved in Alaska counties after they implemented mask mandates. While in Lee County, the battle of the masks got physical.
So as you can see, fish are now flying. All of this on live television.
And when it comes to those oval round hospitals, one texas doctor telling us The physician carrying it at his hospital is so trained, they had to downgrade 2 ICU patients who were still sick enough to need intensive care because there were 2 other patients who were sicker and needed like more. So they're making decisions they never had to make before. Better out. Yeah, it is a pressure story.
Attorney Jones, thank you.
So anyway, now we expect President Biden to address the nation on the end of America's 20-year war in Afghanistan.
When I said to him, you don't customize your car insurance really easily, so you only pay for what you need. How's that get 6 minutes? Only pay for what you need.
With ADT, it's safe to save. And you've helped save more lives than any other home security brand. It's safe to say. There's a reason millions of people trust ADT to help protect what matters most.
If you have this, and you get this, you could end up with this. Unexpected out-of-pocket costs. Which for those on Medicare or soon to be, is a good reason to take charge. So consider this. An AARP Medicare supplement insurance company from UnitedHealthcare. Why? Because Medicare alone doesn't pay for everything. And what it doesn't pay for, like deductibles and copays, can really add up, even thousands of dollars a year. Medicare supplement plans help by paying some of what Medicare doesn't, and making your out-of-pocket costs a lot more predictable. Call United Healthcare today and ask for your free decision guide. Learn more about plan options and rates to fit your needs. Now, if you like this, greater freedom, you'll love that Medicare supplement plans have no networks and no referrals needed. See any doctor, any specialist, anywhere in the U.S., as long as they accept Medicare patients. These types of plans also give you more flexibility when traveling in the U.S. Your plan goes with you, anywhere you go in the country. Even better, these are the only plans of their kind endorsed by AARP. Call United Healthcare today for your free decision guide. So if you have this and want less out-of-pocket costs and more peace of mind, consider adding this, an AARP Medicare supplement plan. Take charge of your healthcare today. Just use this or this to call United Healthcare about an AARP Medicare supplement plan.
Right about now, we could all use a pancake. Or 10. So come into IHOP for pancakes, burgers, burritos, and more. Because you deserve something that makes you smile. This guy knows what's up.
The U.S. Women's National Team, we're not just fighting for soccer glory. We're suing our employers. We need equality. The fight for equal pay has been going on for a long time. We got the entire on our side. If you want the world's most certainly, you have to fight to get there.
With the DTE Home Energy Compensation,
This one's really great.
it's free. We'll show you ways to save energy around your home to reduce your bill. You'll even install energy saving plans.
Great. How much is that?
It's free.
Great.
Then we'll send a home energy report that suggests even more ways to save.
Here it is. Great. Great.
Call for your free consultation today. DTE.
The science behind the vaccine has been around for quite some time. We do know that it does not cause any fertility issues, and the vaccine is safe for mom and baby. If they don't get the vaccine, my concern is much higher for any complications of COVID.
It's a safe vaccine for pregnant and lactating women.
I'm Ryan Nobles on Capitol Hill, and this is CNN.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Hello, everyone. Second hour of Newsroom. I'm Allison Camarana.
I'm Victor Blackwell. Going to be with you any moment now. President Biden will address the nation from the state dining room there at the White House. And I think this replaces American history. The president has ended the longest war in U.S. history in Afghanistan for the first time in 2 decades. And after a chaotic
Early in this manner, he will thank, I am told, veterans for their service and sacrifice, including, of course, the 13 American service members who fell to their deaths last week during that transformation. But I am told this is going to be more of a speech that has more elevation, not necessarily talking about the operational miscues that really have marred the last 2 weeks here. He's going to talk about how America got into this war and why he believes it was a good decision to leave the war. We've heard him say time and time again, he did not want to be another American president to send a new generation of Americans into Afghanistan. Now, that position was largely one of the elected. That position was widely supported by a strong majority of Americans, but it is the frantic and chaotic exit, quite frankly, that we've seen over the last couple of weeks that this administration is still trying to find an answer for. But they do appoint to more than 120,000 people, Afghan partners and Americans alike, leaving Afghanistan safely. That is to say, if you will, to protect the homeland from another terrorist threat.
Jeff Zelmy, thank you.
We're joined now by retired Army Major General James Spider Martin and Chief White House Correspondent.
Okay, guys.
Pentagon Correspondent.
I'm done looking at crud, and the president's not on, so you know what? I'm going to do a reset, and we are going to do some games. Since the president hasn't been on yet, I'm thinking I'm getting tired of this, so you know what? Hey, wait for an hour for the president to get on? Almost an hour, so since the president's not coming on, we're going to reset and play some games. Oh, I'm bad.
But it's the context in which it comes that this is not